I may or may not have taken a long break from YouTube, but I am back and I have a new what if to do. So, the what if is, what if Deku was in the Marvel Universe? So there are two opportunities where this could happen. Either an endgame where Thanos destroys the Infinity Stones, or I could do in the in when Thanos destroys the Infinity Stones, since in the laws of since in Newton's law, whatever, I don't know which one. I think it was the second one. There is always an equivalent exchange. Well, then I could do that. Deku was the exchange of energy, but instead I'm gonna do during the what's it called, during the first Avengers movie when New York was under attack, because of how I can work things out. So, and also there's more opportunity for a story. So during the attack on New York in the first Avengers movie, basically what's happening is it's not only causing a portal from that dimension to be it's not only opening a portal it's not only opening a portal from wherever wherever, and what's it called again, wherever the Clintar were in space, but it also opened a small wormhole in the My Hero world. And during that whole, and while looking for, and I guess the portal was looking for something that had somewhat of the ability to have an increase in energy. I haven't thought this through fully, but something like that. What would happen was Deku, since he has the ability to increase he still has room to grow, and has the ability to there's still room for his energy, like his energy output to grow. Like, as you could say, the wormhole would decide to pretty much drag him, and pretty much this would be, I feel like, at the end of season 3, just because this would give us one of the strongest Dekus, like the current strongest Deku, without, of course, there's major things that's gonna happen in the My Hero universe, probably overhaul winning. I don't know, but right now, at this point, the My Hero universe doesn't even matter. Okay, so what's gonna happen is Deku, he's probably just gonna be Deku's gonna be in class one day. He's just gonna be in the middle of class. Out of nowhere, a huge wormhole just appears out of nowhere and just sucks Deku into the wormhole. And everybody is just, what happened? Nobody knows exactly what happened. All my kids rush there. They don't know what happened. They think it's a villain with a portal quirk. But so, but everybody. So they start interviewing everybody in the class, and everybody says that didn't look like a normal quirk. That looked like something different. That looked like Deku was the only target. It looked like it's kind of like space ish. And they're like, could this be like aliens? They don't know. But they don't know what to do. So at that point, they have to classify Deku as deceased, and Inko is pretty much just heartbroken. But let's continue on. Now, in the middle of New York, Deku is just being launched down, and as I think, it would be, as everybody, I would get as, yeah, they kind of make sense. As the Avengers are like in that little circle that you see, it's a kind of like iconic moment. I didn't know where Deku just falls, landing on his feet with full cowling activated, because at this point, he would be used to having full cowling activated, so it makes sense. So after that, Deku would just, Deku would be confused. He would ask, "Where are we?" They would say, "New York," and Deku would say, and they wouldn't actually. No, wait. Tony Stark. I feel like Tony Stark. We would be probably the only person who would know where he is, who Deku what Deku is saying, because if you remember correctly, the My Hero takes place in Japan, so and Tony Stark knows. I think Tony Stark knows a lot of languages, so I'm gonna say that he knows Japanese. So Deku would be Joe Tony Stark would say, "Hey, how did you get here?" And Deku would just respond by saying, "Well, there was a massive. Well, I was teleported here." And they would be confused, but they would say, "Hey, you should probably get to safety. The monsters are attacking. You should probably get to safety. There is police. Go in the building." And Ducky would say, "Wait, what?" There were someone's on there under attack, pretty much. So Ducky would just say, "Don't worry, I'll help." And then, he does have his hero license at this point. So Ducky would just charge in, trying fighting the Clintar, and no one would know who he is at all. They would be very confused. They would and when since Deku has full Cali activated, they're like, "Wait, what? He has superpowers?" So they would be massively confused. See, and while this is happening, I guess you could say the directors at Shield are like, they're currently watching this, and they see a kid out of nowhere, so they call Nick Fury, saying, "What is a kid doing over there?" And Nick Fury has no idea what they're talking about at this point. They're like, he's like, "But there's a kid over there?" So they say, "Hey, he has like some lightning aura on him. Maybe after this, you could probably find out what he is all about, pretty much." Hello. So after this, this is weird. Okay, so after this, he would be fighting the so Deku would be fighting a Clintar, and the Clintar have no idea what's going on. There's a whole bunch of like, they all they know is just Loki has no idea what's going on because he's losing a whole bunch of Clintar at an alarming rate, and he doesn't know why. But anyway, so as this is going on, uh, pretty much, ooh, sorry, pretty much what's going on is a whole bunch of Clintar Deku's just taking down a whole bunch of Clintar. Everybody else is doing exactly what they were doing in the normal movie. But in this, like, it's much more easier for them because Deku's just helping out. Now, I'm going to continue this at this point. So when at this point everything goes in as canon, but when at the end, we're near the end where everybody's like leaving, everybody after everything's finished, there's like a shield agent. Deku has no idea where to go, and so he starts looking for Tony Stark because he has no idea what to do, and nobody understands what he's saying. So he runs around the town using full cowling at 8%, and he ends up finding Tony Stark on the ground, and then he gets there to see, and as he's running over him, you have Bruce Banner just waking him up with how he did in the original by roaring. Now, when Deku, everything goes as normal, but Deku's just like, "Hey, what do I do at this point? Because I have no idea where I am, and what year is it?" Tony Stark would give him the year. I have no idea what year it takes place. The Avengers takes place in. So I'm just gonna go with, I guess, 2018. No, 2012, because that's when the year movie was made. But Deku would say, "What do you mean? Wait, what? I'm in the past because the ah, ah, blah, blah, blah. Because my hero takes place in I think 2100 2100 instead of 2000, maybe 2100, and so Tony Stark would be like, haha, very funny kid, but where are you? But where are your parents? And Deku would say, I don't know, I just teleported here in the middle of class. Tony Stark would see how serious Deku is, and he'd realize, well, this kid isn't from here at all. He doesn't know where he is. He's lost. So Deku would take Tony Stark would take Deku in for the time being, be due to how due to so that way he can find out his parents. He would ask for Deku in dang it no. Tony Stark would ask for Deku's name. Deku would give him his name. He would say, hey, my name is Izuku Midoriya. He would look him up using Shield database, which he has hacked into. Earlier in the movie, if you remember when he had bugged the Nick Fury's kind of command station. But anyway, so as that's happening, he would see that this kid doesn't even exist. So he would say, hey, what was that green lightning thing that you did earlier? And Deku would say, oh, that was my quirk. And at this point, Tony Stark is very confused. He's like, a quirk, what's that? Deku would say, wait, what? You don't have a quirk? And Tony Stark would say, no, we have people who have superpowers, but we don't know anything about quirks. And Deku would be very confused. And Tony Stark would show him like a video of, I guess, Hulk transforming, Bruce Banner transforming into the Hulk. And then he would say, and then Deku would say, oh, so he has a transformation quirk. And at this point, Tony Stark is very confused. He's like, what? And then he puts it together. He's like, wait, you were in the middle of class and there was a wormhole. So, and then Tony Stark would say, hey, so you're probably from an alternate dimension. And Deku's like, wait, what? The multiverse theory actually exists. And then Deku would just start mumbling. And then Tony Stark would say, anyway, it would just continue talking. He would say, if you're from a different multiverse, that means that the multiverse theory is correct, and I don't know where this is going. He would just start going on about the multiverse, I don't know. And then pretty much Deku, and then so Tony Stark would say, hey, so you said you have something called a quirk, right? Can I take a piece of your DNA so I can study the quirk gene, the quirks? And Deku wouldn't really see any harm in this, so you would say yes. Now, a few months go by, Deku's helping out. Deku's still kind of learning English, but he's also helping out like around the Stark Tower. He's helping build it because he has, well, One for All, which gives him super strength. And anyway, I don't have the no. Anyway, so as time goes on, and Deku learns English, he's become friends with Miss Potts and everybody. So I'm going to, and while this is happening, Deku has been training and he's learned to access 10% of One for All, and pretty much all. Think Tony Stark is kind of impressed because he used all that power during the attack, but he still was learning how to control it. So Tony Stark would try to help him. I feel like there would be characters like, I don't know, I guess you could say Banner, trying to help him learn how to control it, I guess. I wouldn't really see how that would work, but yes, that's a possibility. Anyway, but yeah, and so pretty much as time goes on, and frankly, uh, Tony Stark is, Deku is friends with everybody. Now I'm going to time skip to around the yeah, I feel because since Deku is staying with Tony Stark, it would only make sense if we were to time skip to Avengers, the second. No, Iron Man 2. Wait, no. Iron Man 3. So, Deku, he's kind of living with Tony Stark at this point because he has nowhere to go. And I see Tony Stark kind of treating him like his own son. And Deku still is, I think he would be at around 11% of One For All. Because the Iron Man 3 movie, it's in between Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. And Iron Man still hasn't gotten over his, I guess you could say, PTSD. So so later on, so during the attack, oopsie. So during the attack on no, not New York, during the attack on Iron Man's house, Deku is helping Pepper kind of, you know, evacuate, and then after that he would also help Tony Stark, get out of there. And and this one, Tony Stark would still, kind of get hit. He would still, end up at, I think it was upstate. But anyway, but this time, when Pepper, she doesn't really get captured, and I guess you could say Midoriya kind of works as their bodyguard because he is One For All. So Pepper doesn't really get captured in this because I guess you could say Deku really just takes care of everyone. He kind of like beats them all up. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I haven't watched Iron Man 2 yet. Okay, I haven't watched Iron Man 2 in a while. Iron Man 3. But anyway, she just doesn't end. She ends up not getting captured, and pretty much while this is going on, and that means Pepper isn't there to help. Uh, Pepper isn't there to help. When it comes to them, when it comes to the yard. But I feel like Deku would be there due to him, him still being the bodyguard. So he would go over there. He would try to help as much as possible. So that would lead to, instead of Pepper helping, it would be Deku helping, would result in less, I guess you could say, suits being broken. But besides that, okay, I'm gonna continue focusing. Hold on. Anyway, I'm back. So they would have caused less suits to be broken, and the battle would go easier, and because Deku would pretty much just hitting, the Mandarin, I guess you could say, back and forth, just relentless attacking, leading him to just be beaten up, just leading to the victory, ending up. And Tony Stark would still, get the surgery and everything, and Deku would be bodyguard there, would be, kind of protecting him, and I guess you could say happy. He's kind of like, I guess you could say, Deku's supervisor, not yeah, supervisor, I guess you could say, and at this point, Happy is the head of security at Stark Industries, so he's he's good, and Deku is pretty much Stark and Pepper Potts' personal bodyguard, and at this point, Tony Stark has pretty much taken the quirk gene, and he's figured out how it works because Tony Stark is literally a genius. He's figured out how it works, and at this point, he's managed into like kind of like a serum, like how the super serum is. Now, I have two options where I can take this. One, I gave Iron Man a quirk, pretty much making him even more overpowered. Or I can give someone else a quirk, like, maybe, what's this? Da. And maybe, Steve Rogers or Captain America, same person, a quirk. Or you can give Bruce Banner a quirk. There's a whole bunch of people that you can give a quirk to. I'm going to save that for later, but I have a great idea when it comes to Infinity War. Anyway, now then, I'm going to leave it off here. This will be the end of the video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment what if I were to give certain characters a quirk, what would they be? Because I have no idea. So, anyway, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye. Oh no.